Hello, everybody. First off, I wanted to thank media partners for being here and covering this. This is a very, very important topic we're going to go through today. And as you'll see later on with some of the results of this operation, we're going to go through a new standard's been set in kind of a multi-agency operation. I'd be remiss if I didn't thank the partners that are to my right. As you can see, this operation was huge. And this partnership is what allowed for the results that came from this operation that happened last week. My name is Rob Scheer, S-C-H-E-R-E-R. I'm a sergeant with the Phoenix Police Department's Public Affairs Bureau. I'll start with this. The Phoenix Police Department is well aware that one of the largest concerns that our citizens have is that of community safety and violent offenders within our city. The Phoenix Police Department is listening, and we are acting. Case in point, Operation Summer Shield. This operation's mission from the beginning was to enhance public safety through identifying, locating, and arresting those violent offenders with outstanding arrest warrants. This operation stemmed from June 5th to June 9th, last week, Monday through Friday. But I don't want to limit it to that. It took several weeks of planning, several weeks of partnerships, which is how we came up with this group. And this group produced a modernized model to, again, set the standard that we have now for a multi-agency operation. I want to thank all of those officers, agents, professional staff that were involved in this operation. It was a commitment by them and, again, our partners that led to these results. And I hope you're as astounded as I was when I first saw these. Chief will go over some of those numbers, but they're incredible, to be frank. As many of you know, last week the Phoenix Police Department rolled out our new crime reduction plan. In comparing that crime reduction plan with this operation, I hope you guys see the direct correlation of not only the model, but the focus that this crime plan has, and how this is essentially an example of how that crime plan can be used to effectively enhance community safety within our city. To speak about the correlation with the crime plan and the results of Operation Summer Shield, I'm going to invite Interim Police Chief Michael Sullivan up to the podium. Chief.
So thank you all for being here today. The city of Phoenix is safer today than it was last week. And that's because of Operation Summer Shield. And it was successful because of these partners, local, state, federal partners that all came together. And I have to take a minute to recognize each and every one of them. We had the Maricopa County Attorney's Office, the Maricopa County Sheriff's Office, the Arizona Department of Public Safety, the U.S. Attorney's Office for the District of Arizona, the Phoenix Division of the FBI, the ATF, the DEA, HSI, the United States Marshal Service, and the women and men of the Phoenix Police Department. As was spoken about just before this, we rolled out our crime plan last week, and it focused going after those small percentage of people who are causing violent crimes on the street of Phoenix. This is part of that plan. And we focused on the most violent offenders and those prohibited possessors as we developed this operation. This operation was developed using data-driven intelligence to make sure that we did workups on violent offenders with felony warrants. And we did workups on all of those folks. And I have to take the time to commend Commander Brewer and his team. They worked for up to 7 weeks with our partners to put together packets to help locate folks. And that, if not for the work of all Commander Brewer, your leadership, and all your folks, this would not have happened. It was an incredible success. The Phoenix Police, along with our partners, made more than 580 total arrests. Some 420 of those arrests were felony arrests. Close to 700 active warrants were cleared, and more than 400 of those active warrants were felonies. We seized nearly 4 dozen firearms during this operation. And it's important to note that all 21 of the arrestees that were armed with firearms that we encountered during this operation were all prohibited possessors. We're going to work with our prosecutors to hold those who carry firearms illegally accountable. We also cleared 4 homicides, and 16 Department of Correction absconders were located and returned to prison. We seized over 500,000 fentanyl pills, over 5 pounds of methamphetamine. I'm so proud of the work that was done over the last week. It's incredible what can happen when we all come together and work as a team. At this point, I'm happy to take any questions.
You said that 20 of these folks were armed.
21.
21, and they were all prohibited possessions.
That's correct.
Did any of those incidents result in any sort of standoff or injuries to any of the responding officers?
We had very few uses of force throughout the entire incident, or the entire operation. We had no critical incidents that occurred.
And no officers injured?
No officers injured.
Chief, if you would talk to us about how this worked, because it's obvious you have more people, more boots on the ground. You can do some things you're not able to do day to day when the fans are helping. A lot of resources are there. But talk to us, break it down. How did it actually work?
This started months ago when I met with my team, and then I met with the leaders across the city, and I came together and said, hey, would you be willing to participate in an operation at the beginning of summer where we know we have challenges with violent crime? And I got a yes, or a resounding yes from everybody when I made those calls. And then we looked around the department and found Commander Brewer, who we knew had the skills and the talent to be able to coordinate this effort. We talk a lot about the sworn members, but we had professional staff, analysts, who worked on this for close to 7 weeks, putting together packets and looking through the intelligence where we could go look and find these folks. You just don't get a packet of warrants and go out on the street and start knocking on doors. Significant work went into this prior to. We stood up an entire emergency management system and worked it as a big event like that, and worked it very hard throughout the week, kept very good data, and that's what brought us here today. Yep.
Okay. You're talking about prohibited possessors. How does the police department and other agencies ensure that these criminals aren't getting guns again once they come out of prison and, once they serve their time?
Can I be quite frank with you? We have to catch them with the weapons. There's a reason they're prohibited possessors. They're arming themselves when they know they shouldn't be armed. There's an incredible amount of guns on the street. We can work with our federal partners to look for straw purchasers, people who buy guns and provide guns. We do that on a regular basis. That's one way we do it. But the most important way is holding those folks when we find them and they are prohibited possessors. Make sure that they are held to account for that crime. And our county attorney has said that she is going to work very hard, and we work very hard with our U.S. attorney to make sure that folks are prosecuted to fullest extent of the law in those situations.
You call this operation a successful one, and you guys have over 550 arrests. However, going into this operation and the planning process, you guys had a projected number of arrests that you were hoping to have?
We didn't. I can tell you, when I was having talks back in the press room with folks back there, and we were talking, I estimated 200 folks. But you'd never know when these operations come about. That just goes to show the amount of work that went into this whole process. A lot of work by the analysts and detectives leading up to this is what made it successful last week.
Chief, you call it a success, but that was just last week. What are you going to do for the people going forward? Are you taking away some things you guys utilize in this? I mean, we always say that, but kind of tell us, what are you taking from this week-long operation that's going to sustain through the summer?
You know, I put out the crime plan last week. Part of the crime plan was picking up wanted people very quickly. It doesn't end today. You know, when I say success, our work never ends. There is always going to be work for us to do as a police department, but this operation was certainly a success.
Chief, we did video, and I don't know if this was part of the operation last week, the arrest of Joe Silva on 30th Street in Van Buren. Was that, I think it involved you as marshals. Do you know if that was part of this operation?
I can't speak directly to that, but I'm sure our press office can get with you after this event to let you know.
Okay, and then you said nearly 4 dozen guns were seized,
Mhm.
and there were 21 armed suspects who were all prohibited possessors.
Yep.
Were those guns seized from those 21 suspects, or is
We had numerous suspects that had multiple firearms when they were arrested.
so is it accurate to say that the 4 dozen guns that were seized during the operation were all in the hands of prohibited possessors?
That's correct.
I was gonna ask, why now? Does the summer or time of the year play an important factor towards this type of operation?
I think we spoke about the crime plan being rolled out last week. One of the main tenets of the crime plan is making sure we focus on folks that are wanted and that they're held accountable. These weren't warrants that we worked up that were people that were wanted from 3 years ago. The focus was on the last several months where these warrants were initiated. So, you know, I think it's a very good start to what we're doing and what we'll continue to do every single day.
Was this operation focused on one particular area of the city, or was it all scattered all over the city?
This was a person-focused operation. It wasn't focused on one general area of the city. It depends, you know, where those folks that we were looking for were located.
When we're talking about firearms seized, have we been able to trace back any of these firearms to unsolved crimes, unsolved murders? I know you mentioned homicides. Have any of these people who were arrested linked to homicides that were actively being investigated?
I haven't received any intelligence yet, but all those guns will be tested. You know, it's a valuable piece of evidence for us to follow up on future crimes or previous crimes.
Wondering how far you guys physically had to go to make these arrests. Was it all within the valley? Was it within state limits? Do you have to go out of state?
I don't have that, but we'll get that for you after this event.
So there's always room for improvement. Operations get labels and names all the time. Where did this fall short? Was there something that you wish you could have done better? Things you wish, other than arrest more people, get more guns off the streets, but where did this fall short? Whether it's from a logistical standpoint or an efficiency standpoint, or what?
We have an after-action report that we do after everyone, and it just got distributed yesterday. We'll take a deep look and see if there's any areas that we can improve next time, and we'll make those improvements. But that process is ongoing.
But what comes to mind as a top? I mean, I'm sure you guys have task force meeting once a week. You're checking in the numbers as it had gone, even in the 1-week period. Did you ever make any calls to day? Hey, how's it going? Like, was there something that sticks out to you?
There's nothing that sticks out to me at all in this operation. That doesn't mean that we're not going to look and assess the entire operation and see where we can get better in the planning process going forward.
Chief, you touched on this already. I don't know if you want to expand, or maybe the county attorney would be willing to answer. But talking about bail for these suspects, I know there's been a lot of criticism from the public about suspects who get a relatively low bail or have an easy time posting it. How do you ensure that these folks are, I guess, is there conversations between your two offices to ensure that these violent offenders get an appropriate bail to make sure that you guys aren't now dealing with these same suspects again on the street a week from now?
We work on a regular basis with the county attorney's office, having conversations when it comes to these situations. They're great partners.
How did this affect day-to-day operations? How did this affect day-to-day operations? Were you all able to focus more with the police department work because you had the power of the feds behind you? Or like, was there any fishing pools on there?
I mean, it's focusing of our resources. We talked all the time. I talked last week about our crime plan, and they said, how are you going to be able to fight crime with being down 500 officers? We don't have any choice. We're going to fight crime with the men and women and our partners, and that's the way that that we can do what we have to do to be able to keep the folks of Phoenix safe.
Is this going to be a routine to hold these operations on a regular basis?
You know, I'm not going to tip my hat to the criminal element out there, but if you got a warrant for you, you might want to consider turning yourself in.
You gave some numbers for how many firearms and drugs and others were gathered from this operation. How about cash? I see that you're displaying some pictures and we see cash as part of that.
We can get that for you after this event.
We're talking about violent criminals and violent crimes. Can you just kind of give us a little bit of a summary of what kind of violent crimes and violent criminals we're dealing with, or what kind of charges had these suspects had in prior?
I mean, we have, you know, over 580 arrests, 700 warrants, so you have the complete gamut as you go through of the crimes that we experienced or that we found.
Thank you, Chief. Thank you. Again, media partners, thank you very much for coming out and being part of this. At this time, our leaders need to get back to work. I'll put some closing statements up as they head back. As a call to action, the Phoenix Police Department recognizes and empowers the coordinated effort with us and our citizens to impact public safety and impact the city in a positive way. If you do know someone that has an outstanding warrant, understand it doesn't need to be a significant warrant. These people that were arrested during this operation, many of them had a criminal history that supported them being a violent offender. That inherently, it's hard to quantify, but that inherently thwarts off future violent crime. Please contact the Phoenix Police Department if you know anybody in this arena that has an outstanding warrant. Please contact Silent Witness if you want to remain anonymous. For specifics about the crime plan, I'll remind everybody phoenixpolice.gov/police is where the full crime plan that was cited several times. For specifics, we will be posting a comprehensive news story on our Phoenix newsroom with some of these statistics that were put forth. That link will be in a media advisory that I will send out here shortly. And again, please follow our social media for posts related to this and other potential statistics that could help in your stories. It is my understanding that some of the partners that were up here are willing to give individual interviews. I'm going to head back now, identify them, and bring them back. We'll set something up for you guys and be able to get your questions specifically to those people. But thank you very much.
So, are we going to give these in?
Absolutely, that will go attached to the media advisory also. Yes.
Questions